Hey, welcome back everybody. So, in this particular video, we're going to talk about data sources. Why do we need data sources for? Well, actually, it's quite common to have a situation where you might have a whole bunch of people, perhaps within your team, that are supposed to be writing reports based on the same data set, maybe the quarterly results, the yearly results, or whatever. And they're writing their reports, and the results that come out at the end don't seem to match. And so you've got the situation where the reports should be showing identical results, but they are not. And so the solution for this is to define a data source. Now, sometimes in ServiceNow, you'll also see these being referred to as report sources as well. So this is going to be a little bit unusual in this particular video. I'm going to show you in the new platform analytics visualizations, as I've been doing previously. But then once I've shown you the new method, which uses these things called filters, I'm actually then going to show you the older reporting tool. Now, the old reporting tool will be phased out, I think, by Australia release. But up to then, there could be people who are still using it. And so I'd just like to just have a wee chat about that as well. So in this particular example, this would normally be monetary type data that you'd be looking at, as I explained, but it can in fact be any sort of data at all. So because we don't have any monetary demo data available to us, we're going to once again use the incident demo data that comes with ServiceNow. And in this particular example, we've been asked to write reports based on all active incidences that have also got a service level agreement active at this particular time. And so this is a prime example where you could probably quite easily get this wrong. Okay, so this is a rather simple example, but I think it will suffice. All active instances with a service level agreement. So let's go to our platform analytics. And once again, we'll come down to data visualizations sitting here. Okay. So of course, we need to know the name of the table that's going to be running, that we're going to be using for our data. And of course, usually the platform owner or the process owner can give you that particular information. So I'm just going to click new here because we want to create a new visualization. However, I'd like to just point out down here, we're not going to click this one here, add data source. This is where it starts to get a little bit confusing because ServiceNow sometimes changes the names of things and sometimes it also recycles names as well. So let's just get down and we're going to create a simple list report here. Okay, we'll talk about the data sources maybe. So in this particular case, we're going to create a list simple report. Now, of course, at this particular stage, of course, talking to the process owner or the platform owner, we'd need to discover, of course, what is the name of the table that actually holds this particular data for us. And so we would need to put in the name of the data. Okay, name of the table that holds the data. It might just pop up here just a little bit here. Sometimes this takes a little bit long to just pop up. So we'll just give it a wee second. It's now giving us the ability now to actually ask for the table. So we'll put in the name of the table. In this case, it happens to be the incident table. Bear in mind, by the way, that the actual name of the table is the one here with the underscores underneath here, because names cannot have spaces or illegal characters, etc. And this is the label of the table above. In this case, it happens to be exactly the same. Now, At this particular time, what we would like to do is bring back only the records where there is active incidences. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down to here to edit filter. So we're going to use a filter to filter the data. So sitting down here, now we will talk a little bit about using existing filters, but we're going to create our own one at this particular moment. So it's already gone to active is true automatically for us, and we've got the ability to do ands and ors here as well. Just to let you know, of course, that any field here which has got an arrow next to it, this is the way that this particular tool shows you a reference field. And this would enable us to dot walk off to that related table and pick values or related values inside that other table. In fact, we could even dot walk off to another related table as well if we so wish to. So for instance, I could go down to here and I could, for instance, get the manager. This will take me off to the table now that holds the manager. And then, of course, I could come down and perhaps pick their maybe their name here. And so this is actually dot walking to two different tables. The system will automatically make sure that the referential data is correct. Okay. So yes, you can put these dot walking in to allow these filters. Quite nice indeed. In fact, if I put that inside there, I could put in something like, Smith or something like this, and it would actually filter the data where the assignment group manager is Smith. Okay, and I've got ands and ors here as well, but we won't do that. We'll just bring back active is true. The values that you get here, by the way, and the values that you get to the operator all depend on the type of data that sits here, whether it be date time, whether it be Boolean, whether it be string field, whatever. So far this will bring us back only records from the incident table where the value is true. Now we also want to bring back ones with active SLA, so we'll try to do that. We'll put and here and we'll come down and we'll see if we can find any with service level agreement mentioned here. And unfortunately, we've got made SLA and we've got SLA due. These are actually fields that have been populated on this table, but they're not actually going to give us the answer that we want. We want to know which ones are actually active at the moment. So just be very careful about that. So, but here's the good news though, even though we can't do it on this table, we can do it on a related list condition. Now our system will automatically look at what process table you're using, in this case the incident table, and it will figure out all of the other tables in the platform that have got a relationship with this table. And we can now select that table from here. So there's thousands of tables, but it's only going to show you a small number. Now you may need assistance in figuring out what the name of that table is. It turns out that it's actually called task SLA. That is the name of the table. Now this is where it starts to get interesting. We've got this greater than or equal to, greater than, less than, equal to, none, and between this number and this number. What this is deciding to do is quite simply this. I'm going to filter the records on the first table by whatever condition we put here, and then based on that I'm then going to compare those records with to see if there is related records in this other table called task SLA, but only bring back the ones where this evaluates to true. In this case I want to have greater than or equal to 1 SLA. So an incident can have more than one SLA, but my brief in this case is to bring back all active incidences that have got a active SLA, or at least one active SLA. Okay, and once again I can of course put in a another filter here, but only ones that are active. So this will not bring me back ones that are no longer active. And I can even sort this as well. scroll back down there, and I can say, well, maybe I'll do it by the created field, and I'll do it in ascending order. Okay, fair enough. So I have in fact created a filter, and this filter is going to be able to allow me to define my data source. Okay, so I guess you could say a data source is a combination of the table and the filter. Gives you this thing called a data source. Now I'll just view here now, and there you go. I have now got a I've now got the result that I wish. Okay, now of course, is this showing me all of the fields that I want? Oh, well, if I've got the ability to do this, then I can go across, and I can add other values across here as well. No problem as well. I can even see when they're due, by the way, for instance. Okay, or any other data that I want that's available to me. So we'll just go back now. Okay, and I think, you know what, I think I'm going to save that now. But before I do that though, this is the key point. Before I save this report, what I want to do is that I want to make sure that I'm saving this filter for future use. Okay, and the trick is you give it a really sensible name, then you can tell everybody else, hey, when you're creating this particular report, maybe each quarter, maybe next year when you're doing it, whatever the case may be, all you got to remember is, oh yeah, we want this table here, and we would like to have this particular filter, and it's going to be easy for them. So I'm just going to save this, and I'm going to call it all active instance with active SLA. So that should be pretty easy to understand. Now, by the way, you may not have the ability to tick here everyone in group, and if you don't, that means only you will be able to see this filter. So it's important that whoever is creating these filters has got a report role that allows them to save it to, well, basically everyone in the group. You'll need to talk to your system administrator about organizing a role to be associated to either you directly or preferably to a group that you belong with. Okay, and there you go. So now that I've saved that particular filter there, I can apply that. And now, you know what, I might just save this particular, I might just save this one here. All active incidents with SLA, and let me see here. It's in it's August 2025. Well, however you decide to name them, of course, that's entirely up to you. Okay, fair enough. Okie dokie. So there you go. Okay, now let's pretend now that there's somebody else. Oh, of course, there's a lot more you can do down here. Of course, you know, enable word wrap, hide column, resizing, and all that sort of stuff. And of course, highlighted colors. Yeah, you know, the options that you get here will depend on which visualization that you chose. At the moment, it's getting these ones here, and yeah, I can of course add or subtract any of these display columns that I want from here permanently inside the report as well. I just need to add or extract and then save it again. All right, I haven't made any changes, so it's not going to save. Once this is done, of course, we could then of course add it to a dashboard, and you're away laughing. Now, of course, what about the next person coming along now? Well, they go into data visualizations here. They go new. Okay, once again, they will need to pick their visualization and of course put in the name of the table that they want. There you go. And now, actually you can do it from here or here. I just prefer this location here, by the way. And now they can go in and they can say use existing filter. And there you go. all active instances with active SLAs. And then they just apply that. They can of course make changes to it if you wish. There's nothing stopping them from going in and adding new conditions, for instance. And there you go. And if we actually just view that, you'll see we get the same data set coming back. Now, that's how you do it in platform analytics. But you will be aware, of course, that before we upgraded the systems, and what I mean by upgrade, well, we used to have two applications. One was called performance analytics, and one was called reports. Okay, and there were two separate applications, platform analytics and reports. And in Xanadu, I believe it was, we merged the two together into one tool, and we renamed that tool to platform analytics. So platform analytics is in fact a combination of the two tools, and of course it's been changed quite dramatically. And of course down here under indicators, by the way, this is where you would be working with the older, what we used to call performance analytics. But if I come down to here, notice this thing called data sources here, and they're called report sources. I did tell you earlier that was in fact the case. And if I click on report sources here, you'll notice that it looks quite simple. It looks like a name, a table, and some sort of filter. Oh, quite interesting. And so down here, we've also, of course, got, if we just hide down it, we've got the old reports application sitting here. So this is the older reports application. You shouldn't really be using this application because it basically is going to be deprecated, I believe, by Australia release, but safe harbor on that. Okay, so I could actually go into here, and I could actually go into report sources, and I could do exactly the same thing from here. I can go new. Okay, now I'm just going to call this one, I'll pick the table first. It looks a little bit different here. There's the incident table there. And I'm just going to call this Jeff all active incidents with SLA. In fact, I won't call it Jeff. I'm going to call it report RS for report source, so that we know that we created there. And look, it looks very similar, doesn't it? Active equals true, related list condition, task SLA, cool, active equals true, and of course greater than equal to 1 is already done. All right, so how this would work with the old tool is that if you're still using it, you can now come down to reports. I'm just going to find it now. We should hide it away a little bit. Here it is down here. And I can now go a new report. And this takes us to the old, what we used to call, what we still call it, the report designer. So the report designer is the old visualization tool. Now it does function just a little bit, I believe a little bit nicer actually, because here is you've got table. We won't talk about external import. That's a plugin that allows you to bring in Excel spreadsheets, etc. But notice we've got the ability to click data source here, and then I can actually pick it directly from here. So that's actually quite nice, isn't it? All right, and you'll notice it shows me down here. So I actually believe that the old tool was a little bit friendlier to use for sure. But I'd like to show you something else about the old tool as well, which I quite liked. And that was, I'll just give this a name now, and I'll pick the table, the incident table. So when you actually, you could actually create the report here. You could add all the conditions that you were going to add here, and then you could then save this as a data source, which is another name for report source. So I like the older tool because it enabled you to actually create the data source or report source, depending on what you want to call it, and see the data before you saved it. Whereas with the new visualization tool, you sort of go in, you create the filter, then you run the report, and then you've got to remember to go back and to save it. Now, if you're still using this tool here, then you need to get your administrators to install a migration plugin. There is a reporting migration plugin. They'll find it, they know where it is, they'll install it. And there's just this one-off type job that you need to do, where when the day comes when you decide you're not going to be using these old reports anymore, then there is a migration tool, and you run the migration job, and it takes all of these old reports here and it turns them into data visualizations, so they appear up here instead. So there you go. That is well, so as I said earlier, data sources, also known as report sources, but in the new visualization tool we use filters to create them. In the old tool we use report sources that are then saved as data sources. Confusing, isn't it? So there you go. So if your team is finding it difficult to define a data set, particularly ones that need to be reused again and again and again, then yeah, I think this would be a great tool for you. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.